Kipchoge's world record, and Lemmer, barrel-chested athlete from Ethiopia, right up alongside Noah Kipchoge, and clearly fancies the job here. Do you know what, Mara? This has got the makings of turning into a really intriguing race. It's not necessarily panning out as we may have expected it to on paper and on so many occasions when Kipchoge has played centre stage at big city marathons around the world. They're lapping Lund, by the way.
Yep. Cisse Lemmer wasn't at the top of my list for challenges for Kipchoge, but then you look at his CV, 2:03.36 in Berlin last year. You know, another of these men who are truly world class, but so somehow get overlooked because Kipchoge is running that much faster.
Lemmer's wearing that lime green top and the green bib on the extreme left of picture. Well, little bit by little bit, Mara, it's amazing. Always amazes me with marathons. You think to yourself, oh, we're going to be talking for 2 hours here, and all of a sudden you find yourself getting towards the business end of the race, and this is where it's really going to start to get interesting over the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, they say the racing in a marathon only starts from 20 miles, and we're only a bit past halfway now. We'll bring you the latest 5K splits. So they've gone through 25K. We'll bring you 30K splits as soon as they've gone through that. But yes, the second half is where the action starts. In the first half of a marathon, you're just trying to relax, use as little energy as you possibly can, make sure you get your drinks, and be ready to race in the second half. Okay, and there was the final pacemaker dropping out there. So all the pacemakers now gone in this lead group, and it's up to the athletes to do what they want with this elite men's race here in London.
Yeah, now we see the race proper. Pacemaker's gone. Now it comes down to the tactics, the timing, the patience, and who wants it. By the way, I know we're broadcasting here to a global audience, but people won't mind me mentioning the excitement that apparently this race is generating all across Kenya and in Eldoret. There are apparently tens of thousands of people out on the streets watching on a huge screen. Eliud's wife, Grace, and his family are watching in a downtown Eldoret hotel 500 meters away from the screen. I'm reliably informed here, it says, our TV station has free-to-air broadcast rights, which means Kenyans without access to satellite television are able to watch and enjoy the coverage, which is brilliant to hear. So if you are somewhere in Kenya, we're really glad you're enjoying this, because so are we. Mara Yamauchi, 6th in the Olympic Marathon in Beijing in 2008, and myself, Rob Walker. It's always one of our favourite days of the year, and now we really have got an intriguing situation here. The Amsterdam Marathon winner, he just looks absolutely massive to me in contrast to the rest of the athletes. Vincent Kipchumba alongside Cisse Lemmer. Kipchoge looking okay alongside Mosinet Geremu, and Geremu, the World Championship silver medalist, after finishing second to Eliud last April. That is a fantastic quartet of athletes, with Wasihun just behind Kipchoge. So all the main characters you would expect to feature are right here. And yes, people were disappointed when we lost Kenenisa Bekele to the calf injury, but this is now a really genuinely intriguing race. We've missed distance running, but today we are back, and in a big way. Mara? Are we potentially seeing the king coming under a little bit of pressure here in the last 45 minutes or so?
He's certainly coming under a little bit of pressure. I mean, it's a bit unusual to see an elite men's race without Kipchoge at the front, but you know, this is normal for this stage of a marathon. Somebody puts their foot down, throws in surges, others have to respond, and then they might slow up a little bit, then there'll be further surges. And it's Lemmer and Kipchumba who've thrown down the gauntlet for Kipchoge. I mean, I must say Kipchumba looks really easy. So whether, you know, how long can they keep this going? Are they going to pay for it later?
Well, we'll have to keep a close eye on these splits, Mara, to see how far ahead of 2:06 they begin to move. What are we there? So just trying to get those last official splits.
We just saw this lead group lapping one of the British athletes, Jack Gray, that was, Cambridge and Coleridge AC athlete. This is his debut. He's got a personal best of 63.39 for the half marathon from Valencia last year.
Yeah, the pace has increased a little, but it's still not as fast as you would normally expect to see from Eliud Kipchoge. I'd reckon it's what, low 05s maybe high 04s, but
yeah,
we were expecting to see negative splits, bearing in mind the modest nature of the pace at halfway.
Yeah, just inside 206 pace at halfway, and if they run a negative split, yeah, 204, 205, that sort of territory. Well, let's remember this is 5 minutes slower than Kipchoge has run before.
Well, it's a fascinating race unfolding here. Lemmer looks composed at the front. Kipchumba with that beautiful, long, economic stride in second place. Kipchoge in the group there won't be panicking, but as you said, Mara, it's a very different scenario to the one that we're normally used to seeing unfold, with him dominating these races from start to finish. This will test him tactically, and we'll find out. He should be up to the task, and we'll find that out over the next 35, 40 minutes or so.
There is a moderate wind today. The forecast says 15 miles an hour. And I'm just wondering if Kipchoge is happy to let others do the hard work at the front and just stay in that group and just preserve his energy a little bit longer. It doesn't look from the trees too windy, but that is the forecast.
I know, it's funny, you know, we're understandably showing respect to the other athletes here, and we're saying maybe we've got a great race on our hands. And, you know, such is his brilliance. He, by his own high standards, he might just break out into a sprint and suddenly create a 100-metre lead on the rest of the field. But he's paying close attention to Cisse Lemmer there. Lemmer, remember, who's been on the podium in Berlin. He was third in Tokyo earlier this year. What was it, 2nd, 3rd of March?
Yeah, early March. Tokyo Marathon used to be in February, but they delayed it slightly. So Jared Ward there from the USA. He's in the, I believe that's the second, no, that's the Olympic qualifying group. PB of 2:09.25 for Jared Ward. And he ran 2:10.45 in New York last year. He finished 6th in the 2016 Olympics. Best place to finish in the Olympics.
That's the highest finish by a British woman, isn't it? 6th?
It is, yes.
Is it
joined with Priscilla Welch, who also finished 6th in LA in 1984. So the Austrian Herzog on the left of our picture. We mentioned earlier Miucci in that group.
He's a really good runner, Miucci. I always enjoy watching the Italians. They generally perform really well at the major championships.
Of course, Stefano Baldini won in 2004 Athens Olympics, so really good championship pedigree from Italy.
Oh, yeah, and you go back to the late 80s with Galindo Bourdin. I mean, but Baldini, I think Baldini had a couple of world and European medals as well. A classic example of somebody who wouldn't necessarily have challenged in an eyeballs out as fast as you can run big city marathon, but in terms of his tactical nous and his ability to pull out medals, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. I was in the stadium when he won in 2004, and everybody was expecting Paul Tergat to really give the rest of the field problems, because I'm pretty sure Tergat was the reigning world record holder. He'd become the first man in history inside 2:05, but he ran out of steam towards the end. It was a brutal race in Athens, but Baldini ran so well for that gold medal. Must be showing my age. I can't believe that was 16 years ago, Mara. I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Time flies. So the athletes must be getting very near to 18 miles. So I just want to remind viewers who may have missed our women's race earlier, the mile marker at mile 18 was designed by 3 young architects based in London, Ayanna Blair Forge, Shreya Radia and Quincy Haynes. That was in a competition done last year between the London Marathon and the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust, in memory of Stephen Lawrence, who was murdered in London in a racial attack. He ran the mini marathon in his younger years, and the mile 18 marker redesigned in his honour by budding architects. Stephen himself wanted to be an architect. This year they were going to run a competition for all the mile markers to be redesigned, and that is on hold because of the pandemic, but we hope it will return next year.
Now, I think they've moved ahead of 2:06 pace there. 1:29 at 30k. So it's still yet to really explode in terms of the pace we might have predicted from Eliud Kipchoge. But we've got a great race on our hands. It's a different type of day here in London. Tamirat Tola, fantastic championship athlete. He's won the Dubai Marathon, but before that, World Championship silver 2 years ago in London, and got a 10,000 metre bronze behind that man Mo Farah in 2016. Mo just sharing a word or two there with Connor. As Mara said, he's making a highly anticipated debut. And that's Jeff Whiteman on the PA system. I think he was asking Mo what he's doing via the tannoy. I think he said he's going to do one more.
I think Mo was looking for instructions from the group there about the pace.
4:47. It's another steady, solid mile.
So changing of the guard at the front of this group. That's Kip Serem now in the orange vest at the front, I think. The Rotterdam champion from last year, and Kipruto in the black vest.
Yes, Kipruto. Low 2:05s in Toronto last year, won Toronto the previous year. Kipruto's in really good form, Mara. He ran just outside the hour for 3rd in Prague on the 5th of September, so he's in cracking shape. 9th fastest in the field on paper, but I think as a result of that sharp, crisp half marathon in Prague, he'll be feeling quite confident at this stage.
Yeah, of course, recent form is a good measure for these races, not just PBs, because if PBs are old, it doesn't really tell you what form the athletes are in. But we've had such a lack of competition. We don't really know much about the recent form, but as you say, Kipruto 60:06 in Prague on the 5th of September, so very promising from him. PB of 2:05.13 and improved. In 2016 he ran 2:13, 2017 ran 2:07 and down to 2:05 in 2019.
So, you finished on the podium on the London Marathon. You've been around at the top level and commentated for many years.
Yeah.
What's your instinct here on how long you think, if Kipchoge's feeling fine and he's up for this and he's determined in his own mind to boss this race and he's comfortable at the way it's panning out, how late do you think he'll leave it before he goes for a big surge? Because he surely wouldn't want this to come down to an eyeballs out 250 metre sprint, not when he knows he's got the likes of Mosinet Geremu breathing down his neck, who wasn't too far away from him last April here with 2:02.55. How late will he leave it, do you think?
From from memory, I don't think I've ever seen Kipchoge in a proper sprint finish. He always goes several miles before the finish, so give it another 5 minutes, I would say. I mean, he looks comfortable. They've picked up the pace. He's just, it's still another 30 minutes or so of running. The danger, I've been here myself, the danger if you go too soon, and there we get the laps to go counter firing up, so 5 laps to go. If you go too soon, you put in a surge too soon, and then you have to keep that effort going for too long, then you pay for it. So let's not forget, this is comfortable in Kipchoge terms. 2:06, 2:05. I think he's just biding his time a little longer, but Kipchoge next to him is looking very comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. He looks very, very calm, relaxed and composed. I guess from the perspective of these other athletes, Mara, the way they've got to look at this is in a funny kind of way. They're under no pressure. Everybody is expecting the Olympic champion, the world record holder, the first man in